Iran will never belt their knees to this U.S. threat. And also, our viewers may also pay attention to this news. Actually, this is also further escalate the tension, and which is actually the saying that the Iran expanded the uranium enrichment to 20% and will inject uranium gases at its Fordo fuel enrichment plant. So which also will make that 2015 nuclear deal or that JCPOA and very unexpected direction. So we would like to know exactly how that impacts the relation between U.S. and Iran. And also with us, we have the Professor Ijadi with us from the International Relations Department of University of Iran. So we also need to hear a voice from the Iranian, right? So first of all, let's talk to our professor.
And my first question is, we have seen that the regional situation has become more and more tense in this new year. So at this point of tension, why do you think Iran will announce this 20% uranium enrichment plan?
So as our professor just said about his answer to my first question. So my question is about that in the new year, because we have seen that soaring tension in the region. So at this timeline, why Iran mentioned that 20% enriched uranium decision. It talk about actually the May 2018 United States unilaterally withdrawal from the JCPOA, and also we talk about the European countries actually not really delivered their due obligations under the agreement. So which means the announcement made by Iran by the 20% purity actually would like the United States to pay the bill, to pay the cost. Otherwise, the Western countries will continue to give pressure to the Iran and the United States, no matter from the political side or from the military side, will give a more pressure to Iran. And also talk about that by the end of last year, we know that the United States, the Islamic Republic's top nuclear scientists also were killed. So that's the Iranian Parliament actually approved that the 20% purity announcement. Basically, that is also to protect its interests. So talk about the 20% purity. Why is it a big deal? Because that really announcement shocked or draw attention of the whole country. We'll talk about U-235. Actually, the concentration just the 0.75. So we talk about that nuclear plant for the a power generation. The concentration is around the 3.25%. So that's the concentration or purity. We talk about 20% to 90%. Why we mention 90%? 90% actually identified globally as the concentration to make a nuclear bomb. So we talk about 20% to 90%. Just from the number-wise, actually it's a big gap. But why it actually shocks the whole society? we talk about U-235. If reached 20% purity, which means the sailing of the society or the public use actually is from 20% to 90%, then the threshold is so easy. So which means that if you can reach 20%, then it's very easily for you to reach 90%, which is to make a nuclear bomb.
But Iran will reverse only if the other side reverses its violations of the nuclear agreement.
So actually, also, all the other parties, especially the European countries, should follow their commitments. And then,
This nuclear agreement is a multilateral agreement.
yes.
And Iran cannot follow a multilateral agreement unilaterally. So if the other parties follow their obligations, Iran will follow.
Oh,
If they don't, Iran will not.
OK，为大家来解释一下，刚才提问的第二个问题。
So my second question to a professor is about that Iran always emphasized that until now, Iran's own nuclear policy actually irreversible. So my question to professor is at what conditions Iran would make a reverse condition or reverse the decision on that 20% purity. Is saying that the United States back to the JCPOA and also lift all sanctions. I believe that the Iran side will also make the concessions. Actually, JCPOA actually a multilateral agreement among the multiple parties, right? It should be upheld by everyone. But apparently, United States not really uphold and also not deliver this obligation, and also include the European parties, namely France, Germany, and Britain. So as long as all the multiple parties back to the JCPOA and also deliver their due obligations and talk about the Iran now the nuclear plans for Iran, all could be negotiable.
Attack Iran in the last 2 weeks of his presidency. And a lot of these things that you talked about are just show. So flying B-52s just doesn't give you anything, because if you actually want to do something, there are some preparations before that type of exercise, and there are some preparations after that type of exercise. But if you just fly the airplane, that means that you are just showing off. And the aircraft carrier, they say it's going to come, it's going to go. There's a chaos in Washington. You saw what happened in Washington yesterday. So the Americans are very much occupied with themselves, and they don't know how to run a government. Everybody is laughing at the United States as we speak. And I think the U.S. is a country in decline, and they should not dictate things to Iran or any other country.
我来简单的为大家解释一下伊占教授对这个问题的看法。
So my third question to Professor is about, in recent days, we saw the B-52 bombers actually fly several times over the Gulf, and we also talk about that the USS Nimitz, the aircraft carrier, actually stay instead of living in the Gulf. And also we talk about Iran actually in reaction also had a massive joint drill. So we talk about in the coming future whether it's possible to have that the military tension escalated. So Professor believes that they will not have a war, because we talk about a Trump administration will not initiate that war, just simply showing the muscles, no matter it's the B-52 or the Nimitz. Actually, all these move actually more give you a threat. So we talk about if initiate a war, so no matter which country, which side, need to do a lot of preparations. It's not just suddenly send a bomber to you and then fly back. The only answer to this move is that to use this kind of a military move to give additional threats to Iran. Actually, Iran also is not wait, and with no reaction. Actually, Iran is also saying that do not out of the box. And Iran also emphasized that because the United States actually should be really busy to deal with its internal matters, and they will not really do things well. And if they continue this momentum, it's not just the Middle East, but also United itself will be in a mess.
Is that Iran's missile plan must brought to the negotiate table. So what do you think of his words? Will Iran accept it?
You know, occasionally Iran attacks American bases in the region, like Ain al-Assad in Iraq. After Iranian general was assassinated, Iran attacked an American base in Iraq. So Iran needs these missiles because Iran needs to attack Americans once in a while, to make sure that they don't use anti-Iran rhetoric so much. And so Iran needs the missiles. So
for self-defense,
for
actually.
self-defense, we need it. You know, so the missiles are going to be on the table, but it's going to be the dining table at an American base. Because you know, Iran needs to attack Americans once in a while.
So actually, Iranian government will not renegotiation about the JCPOA because it's already a multilateral.
It's a multilateral agreement. Iran cannot renegotiate because, say, you are going to renegotiate it with Biden administration. Tomorrow, someone like Trump becomes president, then he wants to get out. You know, the United States is not a trustworthy country. So you negotiate some agreement with one president, and then the next president will just leave that agreement. So Iran negotiated the nuclear agreement for 2 years. That's enough negotiation. The United States can go back to it if they want. If they don't want, that's fine. But missiles or other things are not going to be negotiated.
我刚才呢问伊扎迪，我刚才问伊扎迪教授的一个问题。
So I also asked Professor about recently we saw that the Jack that saying that if a Biden administration would like to get back to JCPOA, they would like to see Iran get its missile program back to the negotiation table. And Professor said that at the beginning of last year, the United States actually assassinated its top commander, Qasem Soleimani, and also actually attacked the U.S. base by its own missile. Actually, that is a part of the national defense. It's not really take this initiative actively, but this, if for self-defense purpose, for the national sovereignty and the interest, then the United States should not finger point Iran. And also talk about JCPOA actually has been negotiated by multiple parties around the globe. So this is certified by the United Nations watchdog as well, so it's no room for renegotiation. And also Iran right now is not really trust United States. Talk about before the United States withdrew from the agreement. Actually, the United States had already imposed a lot of sanctions. If we talk about right now, the United States gave additional conditions to the JCPOA. Actually, the Iran will not buy in all these.
it will not seek any war against the neighboring countries. And also, but given the fact that U.S. powers are still stay in the region, so this atmosphere in the Middle East has always been tense. So how do you think about the situation of the Middle East in the coming future?
I think when the Biden administration gets into office in about 2 weeks, they should realize that what the Trump administration has done in the last 4 years was a disaster. And they have this opportunity to correct some of the mistakes that Trump had. So we are hoping the new people who are going to be at the White House are going to be smarter than the people who were in the White House before them. And if they have a choice, they can either correct mistakes of Trump or they can follow Trump off the cliff. And it's their choice, but we are hoping that they will correct some of the mistakes that the United States made in the last 4 years.
But generally, Iran doesn't seek any war to the neighboring country. They want peace and a stable for the region, right?
You know, for the last 40 years, Iran and the United States have had difficult relations. So United States is an enemy of Iran. And Iran does not need more enemies. So Iran does not want to be fighting with any regional countries. Iran needs to have good relations with regional countries. Iran likes peace. Iran likes trade. Iran likes cultural links. So there is no need for Iran to have negative relationship with its neighbors. And Iran wants to have good relationship, and Iran does have good relationship with countries like Iraq, like Qatar, like Pakistan, like Afghanistan. All of our neighbors, Turkey, same.
Friendly.
Our neighbors are friendly. One or two countries that are under the influence of the United States, they have difficulties with Iran, and we hope that they change their mind because they see what's going on in Washington. Relying on Washington is not going to do good.
我来为大家简单的介绍一下我的这个问题，就是
So a coming up question I asked Professor, because Iran emphasized many times that Iran will not seek wars, especially will not start a war to its neighbors, but because of U.S. actually has its military stake in this region, and also actually that's soaring a Middle East condition. So talk about what will be the future trend of the Middle East geopolitics. So the professor emphasized that the Biden administration should correct the problems made by the Trump administration, as well as its wrong politics measures conducted in this region. So he believed that he also would like to see that the Biden administration to take the smarter measures and will not really bring the whole region into war. And in the past 4 decades, actually, United States and Iran always in that hostility situation. And Iran do not want and will not want to have any enemy in this neighboring region, because Iran need to develop. Iran also would like to pursue peace and also exchange of trade and culture. So Iran do not want any enemy in the region. And also Professor pointed out that if the United States left the Middle East, then a hope stable situation will be back to Middle East. Thank you, Professor.
其实啊，结合我在伊朗每天做的新闻，
So actually, to talk about a news I covered here in the Iran, we talk about the Trump administration actually had this quite strong or a long arm jurisdiction over this region, and Iran actually not have that initiative to develop its missile program, and also would not to seek any enemy, but they would like to see the United States actually have that attitude to be positive to the relations. And also our professor believe that it's through the political side or through the dialogue and consultation that may be a key to solve the U.S. Iran relations. I believe that also a common understanding among the international society. So we also would like to hear about the Iranian public, about how they understand the current U.S. Iran relation. So I also invite a special guest, Mr. Hussein.
Thank you, Mr. Hussein. My question is, we already talked with Dr. Izzadi about the regional tension and about the situation of Iran. So as a common Iranian, how you think about the situation?
Well, we are not happy with this situation. We are under cruel U.S. sanctions for years, and now we are hearing some news about possibility of war. This is not good. I'm sure that people of the region do not want war too, because if a war happened, the whole region will get into a big conflict. This is all because of the U.S. interference in the region. I think we and the people of the region should give hand to protect the region, live in peace, and do not allow the United States to interfere in our region. If we fight, we all lose. If we make peace, we all win.
OK，我刚才呢是问侯赞先生一个问题，就是
So my question to Mr. Hussein about as a citizen here in Iran, how you view the development of the local situation. He believes right now actually is in a very unstable situation because of the sanction imposed by United States, and also he saw in the news coverage that there may be a possibility of war. Having said that, Mr. Hussein believes that the whole region actually is not seeking for a war, because that will drag the whole region into a even unstable situation. All these, the instability actually all from the provocations from the United States side. So if there's no war, we can solve the issues in a very peaceful way, then everyone can win from this. So they also would like to see more cooperation.
your life had changed or affected?
Of course, it affects my life. I think it affects the life of all Iranians. It impacts our economy seriously. Prices are hiking. I'm really worried about my family, friends, relatives, the Iranian people. We should take care a lot not to get sick, because we may not receive some special medicine due to the U.S. sanctions. This is very inhuman. Yeah, Iranian people will not forget such inhuman acts by the United States.
我刚才呢问的侯赞先生就是，鉴于美。
So my second question to Mr. Hussein about that, because of the U.S. sanctions and the military hostilities and also the escalated tensions between the both sides, and whether that impact his life. He said yes, indeed, that impact each and every Iranian, and he also quite afraid that his family members, his friends, get illness because of the sanctions. Actually, a lot of the humanitarian, the medicines, food actually is short of stock. So if people get ill, they may not have that medicine available. And because of sanctions, actually, that's the whole economy actually in Iran is also quite stagnated, and also the price is hiking. So people always remember that this is not really
future of the
humane
JCPOA generally.
way.
Well, it depends on Americans. I hope American wise man, American wise statesman comes back to the right track, return to their obligations. They withdrew from the JCPOA, and this is their responsibility to save the JCPOA. I think chaos, bloodshed will not resolve anything. I mean, the priority is a political solution. And I think the Iranian message is peace.
OK, thank you, Hossein. 我刚才也是问侯赛因先生，最后一个问题。
So my last question to Mr. Hussein is about as a Iranian, how you evaluate the future of the JCPOA. So he says that he believes and hope to see that the U.S. government should seize the bigger picture and back to the right track, because war is not the solution, it's not the way out. A political dialogue maybe is the way out, because we want peace, we don't want a blood, we don't want to see people lost their life, we don't want to see wars, because that make everyone in even a poor situation that really impact everyone's life. And hope everyone come back to a negotiation table, and also would like to see the U.S. back to JCPOA. So talk about my personal experience, because I have been here for 2 years. So in year 2020, so a whole regional tension centering with Iran actually soaring. So Soleimani, a top commander, actually was assassinated by a drone. Actually, that really had a strong hostility against the United States by Iran, and also by a tit for tat. They also actually attacked sent missiles to attack the U.S. base. So besides this military tit for tat, they also have this kind of move in the political side. The United States side that they would like to expand the sanctions on Iran, and also would like to really bring that sanctions in a faster pace. But actually, the international community actually on the opposite of the United States. What makes things even worse is on November 27th, a top nuclear scientist, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, actually was killed, which actually brought the additional uncertainties and instabilities to the regional tension. So based on my interviews with the political leaders and also the key opinion leaders, they would like to see things going better. But actually, look at how the Iran opened its new year. Actually, we not really see a cool down of the local tension, but we see actually it's in reverse. The tension actually is keeping escalated. No one really can know exactly in the coming days what will happen. But the Iran side always emphasized that the United States should be one to blame to make things to where we are today. So the United States should follow a consensus reached by the international community, and they should lift the sanctions imposed on Iran and get back to the JCPOA. And also the people here in Iran also would like to see that with the joint efforts that they would like to bring the peace and stability to Iran. So this is our live streaming from Tehran, Iran, and thank you for watching. And also would like to give a thanks to our professor Ijadi and also my friend Mr. Hossein, and thank you for watching.